Hello, and welcome to the Beautifully Human podcast. I'm Nick Sheesby. In this podcast, I speak with beautiful humans from all around the world, sharing with you their incredible stories, revealing the power in every human story to spread love and humanity to a world that is in desperate need of it, to show that we can all connect in beautiful ways no matter where we come from or what we look like. What you will find out is that we are all beautifully human. Let's all be beautifully human.
I'm ready, Nick. Let's do this. All right.
All right. Jason, man, thanks for being on with me, brother.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much, my friend. Anything I can do, I'm always here for you, my friend.
I just, it's one of those I just love hanging out and talking with you. And so I figured, why not record a conversation with the two of us and put it out for the world to hear our crazy shit?
Is it possible the world could just hear two amazingly sexy voices and just break the intraweb down?
I think that's what is about to happen with this.
That or we're gonna shut it down.
Yeah, either or, and I'm okay with either. I think either option's pretty good option.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's funny. I keep talking about tea on my recordings, hoping for a tea sponsorship. But then I was making my tea before I called you, and then I was like, maybe I don't even need a tea sponsorship because I still have the 12 different variations of tea that you sent me this summer.
Yeah. If you need to get sponsored by tea, just call me.
Yeah.
You know how much I have.
I mean. Yeah, I was thinking that today. I was like, oh man, I still have just so much tea left from you. So that's all right. I'm doing well with the tea. I got that coconut chai today that you sent.
Nice. I just made a turmeric sweet passion fruit tea, actually.
Nice. If you were sitting beside me, I'd give you a little tea cheers, a little tink.
Yeah, we can make it just perfect by just doing the old. There we go. We just did a tea chair.
Beautiful. Yes.
Shit.
Oh, dude. So, I mean, one of the things that I just admire the most about you is your heart, man. The heart that you have for the people in your life, the friends that you make and that you hold. Like me, for example, I think, my friendship, you're like a brother to me. And, I can't ever have that kind of conversation without thinking of Wendy and AJ. Hi, Wendy and AJ. I love watching your heart, man. It's a really beautiful, beautiful part of you, man.
Well, thank you very much. And it wasn't always that way. I wasn't always this way, I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, when I was all just strung out on drugs and drinking and being selfish and egotistical fucking maniac. Can I cuss on this?
Absolutely.
Oh, fuck yes. But when I was younger, an old friend a long time ago said, why are you hanging around the people you're hanging around with? Because this isn't who you are. And all my answers were excuses because I just kept saying, well, it's who I am right now. And this person actually said, no, it's not. You'll find yourself, and I think more people would appreciate you for who you are. So through a lot of unfortunate situations, something happened, and then I woke up one day, and I just realized I represent my mother and father, as we all do,
yes.
First and foremost. Whether we like them or can't love them or can't stand being around them or can't stand being away from them, right. It's who we represent. And I realized that the people that I was with and what I was doing, it wasn't really who I was. And then I began to come into who I always knew I should be, which is me.
Yeah.
And step away from the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. I mean, it's nice that you had someone in your life to be able to say, like, cut the bullshit, man. Stop doing that. That's not you. Someone to know you well enough to know that, we all get into ruts, into weird things that we do in life that aren't necessarily us, but it's nice when you have someone to look you in the eye and say, nah, cut that shit out, man.
Yeah, it's I think everybody deserves to have just a very few of those people in their lives. Like Nick, I've known you for a long time, and
Yeah.
we haven't seen eye to eye on different things, on everything, on some things, and
Yeah.
I like you could easily just call you out, and
Totally.
it doesn't mean that I'm going against you. It just means that I care so much that at least listen to what I have to say. And if you still don't like it, well, go fuck yourself. I'm going to be right.
Yeah. I mean,
But
there's one massive one that I can think of when it comes to that, and it was you saying, Nick, there will be a day when you hit a wall, and when you hit that wall, I will be there for you. And did I like hearing it? Did I even understand what I was hearing? Probably not, because I was so fucked up. But you were right, and you were there for me the second I hit that wall. So yeah,
yeah,
I love having that friendship with you. That you are one person that will never just say something to say something to me. And yes, we agree on most everything, but there are things that we don't agree on, and that's the beauty of friendship.
that's absolutely right. And the way my mind works nowadays, we were either in Pittsburgh, where Doug Bradley and Stephanie came to the show, and you wore that gold leopard spotted see-through outfit out back after the show, after Doug and Stephanie left in
that
their
sexy
hearse.
little thing.
Yes. Or that was Ontario, Canada, and when there were two shows and everybody went out to the Bovine Sex Club. And,
Oh boy.
And you sat at the merch stand and we licked bananas and you just, yeah, you were a hot fucking mess. And
Yeah.
it was one of those two shows. So
I think it was probably both if I'm thinking into it.
it could have been all of them.
Yeah.
But that, there are just some people, when you have them in your life, you don't want them to be out of your life. And it's, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, best friends, you're one of those people that I've known for so long. I call it the pre-beard days.
Yes.
That when you hit that energy, and that energy is so kinetic that no matter what, no matter where you go in this world, that person, you want that person, because even though that person's currently clouded, that person still is going to make you a better person. And that, when I met you in Atlanta on that day, at that show, on that tour, that was the day I said to myself, I said, fuck, that guy, that guy is going to be a great friend.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I remember that. I remembered, and like, as friendships do, especially on the road, like we met and became fast friends and then didn't see each other for quite a long time. I mean, it was probably a decade again before I saw you. And then we ended up working together, and then it just like you became like one of the closest people in my life, which was super awesome. And yeah, like I said, like there were so many nights when I was just another creature that didn't even make sense in the world.
Yeah.
And you sat there with me and you talked me through shit, and it's one of those it's really neat to see, I guess, in a way. Maybe the wrong wording, but I'm going with it. Me putting myself into what I put myself into in life, if you're listening, that means I drank myself to liver failure. And, this wall that Jason was talking about was that moment when I was going to possibly die because I was drinking so heavily, and he had seen that with friends of his. And, for me to have heard him say that, like it or not, I definitely heard him, and I just ignored it. And then I did it. I hit the wall just like Jason said I would. And then there he was. He was like probably the second person I called besides my brother or something. And I said, hey, man, I still remember it. I was sitting on my parents' back porch in Ohio, and I just said, hey, man. And you said, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? And I said, I don't know. And I think you knew by the way I was speaking that that I had hit the wall, and you said, "How you doing, brother?" And I said, man, I hope I'm gonna be okay." And you have been there every step of the way since in such a amazing way. So it was cool to see that, like, someone says, "Yeah, I'll be there for you when the shit goes down," right? People say that. And then to actually have it go down and then have your friend show up for you is a pretty incredible, neat, as I said, experience.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember the call. I remember exactly, and I remember immediately when we were having the discussion when you were coming to see me in Las Vegas, and we ended up mutually meeting in Salt Lake City when you had a short break between tours. Um, it wasn't even a second thought with me. It was my best friend, my brother, needs me. He needs somebody to be there and not judge him or be critical, because I was just as insane for not paying attention to my own drug and alcohol abuse when I was younger, and I didn't have anybody there. Right. And I vowed I would never do that to the people that mean the most to me. And I don't give a shit what it would cost me, but I would rather lose a job than another friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I just remember how special that was to have you come out and just be like, "Nope, I'll be there, whatever, whenever." You even offered to come to small town Ohio to hang out with me, and I was like, "Jason, are you sure?" And you're like, "I don't give a shit, dude. I'm coming."
Yeah, I knew I wouldn't be welcome the way I look in small town Ohio, but then I said, "Well, you accept Nick, so fuck, you can accept another Sasquatch coming through your town."
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. That is a Bible Belt.
Yeah,
so whatever.
But, I mean, it's one of those, like, there were so many other people in my life that were telling me to settle and do, it's your time to settle down. You had your wild times, and now it's time to settle down. It's time to get off the road and do this and do that. And that was the message I was hearing back there. And it's hard when you're in something like that and you're trying to reinvent who you are as a sober person, which I had no idea what the hell that was. And hearing these things, and I didn't know. I knew I didn't want to, but it was just getting piled on. And then to have someone like you that was just like, "No, man, come out. Like, come out here. Come to Vegas. We'll go to some ghost towns. We'll go wander around the desert. Let's do it. I need to see you." Like, I remember you also saying, like, anyone can say, "I'm doing really well," but it's on the phone. So I need to see you. I have to physically see you to know you're doing well. That you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, talk is interesting. It's very one-dimensional when you text somebody. Then it becomes two-dimensional when you speak to them. But when you physically say, "I need to see you," I need to make sure, that becomes real. That becomes 3D. That becomes reality. And having us get together in Salt Lake and then roaming about in by that toxic mind, and then coming here and getting lost, and finding the discovery that we found up there in the desert. It's when you're driving and when you're talking, or when we're both just listening to music, not talking, that I just look over and I see my friend. I see my friend in need, and I see somebody who I've known for a long time and I care about, and I see the true potential and colors inside the body that need to come out so the soul can shine, as they say. And in today's world, what's going on with the pandemic, it's amazing, and I think anyone who listens to this will understand it. How, and like you and I have talked about it, Giddy, Wendy and AJ, Tom and Sarah, that our circle of friends has diminished at an exponential rate, and it's so small now that it's almost perfect, because anybody can tell you and pretend to be your friend. I call them hearsay friends. It means when they hear your name, they go, oh, say, I know Nick. Yeah. It's like, you're right, but do you know them?
Right.
It's like, a lot of people, but do you know them? And with this pandemic, I look at it as a time when you were sick. Was a lot of people can say a lot of things, but who is going to step up to the fucking plate? Right. Who is going to be there and not be selfish and just take that person in need and want them close to you.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. Like I didn't want to get a call from Lauren or anybody that we mutually know saying that you've died.
Right.
And I couldn't handle that. You know, I've lost too many people, and I wasn't about to lose my best friend. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't have to get that call. I remember, and you know, it's one of those weird moments, and I know you probably had this, you know, when you had your wall smash. I remember thinking the night when I was in the hospital and the doctor said, we don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow, you know, and I didn't obviously fall asleep, because how can you ever fall asleep after hearing that if you close your eyes, they may never open again? But, and the thoughts that I was having, and it wasn't that I was like, oh man, I'm so cool and so many people are going to be sad, but I mean, the effect that would have come of that to my friends, to my close friends, and like my brother, you know, my parents. And I was like, dude, how did I let myself get to this point? How did I become this? I'm going to become this massive sadness to, you know, to my closest friends, which fucking sucked, man. It was, you know, beyond all the other crazy shit going on in my head, it was a really hard thought to process, you know, like, yeah, for you to have to get that call, or just the random person that I became close friends with and hasn't seen me for 5 years, then all of a sudden they just hear, oh, well, yeah, Nick, he passed away. It's like,
and everybody would go when they hear like, oh, you know, because Nick, let's be serious. When we were touring and you were still drinking and we were having all the drinks and everything, it wasn't that, oh yeah, Nick's the life of the party. No. Nick was the party.
right.
And the thing is everyone out there who you've toured with, and all of your friends who knew the old Nick, you were the man for the party. So if somebody got wind that, let's say you had passed away, they would say, fucking out. It was alcohol. Yeah. Well, he drank a shit ton, but you know what? He was a great guy. And, yeah, he just drank too much. And then that would be it. And they would just go on their ways and only be reminded of you. And when certain instances would arise. And that's not really a friend. A friend doesn't want to go, oh yeah, well, I knew Nick. Yeah, he died and he drank too much. He drank himself to death. Rock and roll, baby. Let's have a drink for him.
Yeah. Cheers. Let's fucking drink a drink for a dead alcoholic friend.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and
when that's when it comes to the point where, when you know, you'll know this, and I won't go into the story, but. Only because it involves somebody else. I'll say, you know who it is, but the people who listen, well, I don't think we need to tell the story, but Pensacola with Jesus.
Lord. Yes.
And the picture that Anna took of you in the bunk. And for those who don't understand, Nick and I, when we were on tour, we toured with Ghost a long time and all that good stuff. We're all family. But there was a picture of Nick. He would be partying. I would stay up as long as I could after the show, and everyone else would go to bed, and Nick would just drink everything. And just, you know, that was it.
That was me.
And then he would hang out with Hans or Nate and keep him company.
Yeah.
So we got up, and then Anna, she was production assistant and wardrobe at the time. And she woke me up and she said, you have to see this. So I got out of the bunk, and she directed me to not stand up completely. Nick was passed out in his bunk, the top bunk. There are three in a stack. His curtain was closed. His hand was sticking out, but his hand was holding a fucking PBR. Yep. And the fucking PBR was still full. And he's passed out like a motherfucker. And she took pictures of it. The pictures, I know Nick's got them, and I've got them somewhere. And so does Anna. But
yeah,
I remember... I think Anna woke you up and said, Nick, you got a drink in your hand. You just pulled your hand in, drank the whole fucking beer, put your hand out and dropped the can.
Yep.
And that, you know, let's be serious. That was fucking rock and roll.
I mean,
it was, we have funny moments like that and scary moments like Pensacola, but I don't want to remember those moments other than a funny memory that we can share, because that's not what I wanted. You know, for you, as funny as it was also fucking heartbreaking.
Oh, for sure.
And how it is now. I mean, if people can't see that, one becomes better with certain changes,
Right.
then they're just seeing things with blinders on, and they don't understand that your happiness is your happiness. It's meant to be, and you want to be there for your friends in case of one of your friends have a weak moment. And in today's world, we all are weak right now because it's so scary and uncertain.
Absolutely.
With everything, that if I need to, I know that I want you to be there if I need to call, just to listen to me and speak to me, as with Giddy and Wendy and AJ and Tom and Sarah. Those people, those are the close-knit fans, or fans, friends.
fan friends.
They are fans. I'm fans with them as a friend.
Yes.
But as it links to this pandemic, everything has begun to shrink, and the people that are closest to you and the ones that are there for you, where you can text or call or video chat now, and those are the ones that make the difference. And everyone else that just every now and then reaches out when a tour goes on, or
right,
oh, Nick's in town. Oh, who's he on tour with? Oh,
right.
Oh, Nick's my best friend.
Yeah.
No,
it's not. Amazing those texts when they start rolling in, huh?
Yeah. So having that change and to be there for you for this moment now, and to laugh through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
This is what makes my life now much more happy and satisfied and fulfilling. And it's why I look at people now is, a lot of us have met through music, and that's great because this has been our lives.
Right.
And now I only want those same minded and same liked energy, from people coming back to me. I don't want it any other way. I don't have time for negativity and bullshit.
No way. Oh, no, not at all. Definitely don't have time for that. I never did, but especially now.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, you just mentioning Pensacola, it makes me think of like when I got roofied in Pensacola.
Exactly. And how you almost got shot by a cop.
Yeah, man, it was one hell of a night. I know I'm looking at my questions that are placed in front of me, and it's like, tell me a story of crazy life, and I'm like, oh my god. That would be easily one, but there's so many.
Well, that's just it. It's when we talked about, when I filled out the questions online, or the questionnaire for you to put online, and then we talked, as we have been almost every day, a story about crazy times. The truth is the story doesn't have to be about me to be crazy. It can just involve me, or it can involve us. Yeah. And that was a crazy time, and that was also a moment of survival because of what happened to you and Jesus. Yeah. That whole fucking thing.
Dude, that was wild.
It scared. I was terrified.
Yeah.
I'd never been so scared for you in my life. And that is a moment that you will laugh about. And it's a story that a bunch of us, as they know who they are, shared. And it's just, it's a moment.
It was a moment.
Everybody I'm sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead. I was just saying it was a moment, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I think everybody in life, as long as this is a positive outcome of that moment, everybody goes through them. And no matter where their life takes them in the journeys of the world and beyond, you always have that moment. You always have that story. And one word can bring that back. And then you can laugh and be happy that it's over and it was done. And you've become who you are, the man you are today, because of a bunch of little things that accumulated. That night wasn't your fault, but the stories of survival, can just be put in your face, and you just have to survive it. Because if not, well, you and somebody else wouldn't have made it through the night.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, there were so many nights of me wandering around, just fucked up in cities all over the world. But I will say, I take credit for most of them. But that one was not all my fault. I was there at the bar, but getting roofied was just horrifying.
Yep, that was not your doing.
Yeah,
but those fucking assholes in that bar. And we know that's the weird thing is we can pretty much drive there blind. Those guys were intent of doing more harm because they didn't like the way you looked. And anybody out there It's me, you. Doesn't matter what fucking color you are, how you look. The people that terrify me the most are those type of people because they look very uniform. They're always the same. They live in their little fucking privileged little worlds. But people like us, I just say rock and rollers, metalheads, all over the world, there's one commonality. Yeah. We don't give a shit how we look. We just want to have a good time. Yep. And that doesn't mean drinking and partying. Go to any one of the shows that all the fans like, as I said, Ghost or Lamb of God or anybody out there. All the rock and roll fans want to do is have a good time, and nobody judges them. That place where we were and that moment that you two were at, that was a moment of the most insane fucking pieces of shit that didn't like the way you two looked and decided to try to end your lives.
Yeah. Well, it came pretty damn close.
So, nothing like bandaging up your bleeding appendages.
Yeah, losing a shoe, running across the street in front of a cop car, getting a gun pulled on me with an iPad because my phone had gotten broken by some supporter of this current and on his way out president that smashed my phone in Buffalo. I mean, there was all just the whole story, man.
Yeah.
Trying to call you like 12 times to come get me because the bus had already left, and I walked from one hotel to another, which was 3 miles, and who knows how I did that.
Yep, 3.6 to be exact.
Oh my Lord. Oh my God. Yeah, that was a night for sure, man. All right, so the one that I wanted to ask, just on this kind of note, it's, what is the weirdest thing or the weirdest encounter that you can think of that you've had?
Define
weird.
Define weird.
Oh,
because I don't know if they're weird to me.
Well, just anything that is weird. Let's say weird to. I mean, I won't think it's weird, but maybe someone who isn't as weird as me would be like, holy shit, that's weird.
A weird person asking a weird person what is weird.
Yeah, to get
and
weird.
Normally in somewhere like Burkittsville, Pennsylvania, where the Blair Witch was at.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hanging out there in the woods.
Yeah.
Weird. Holy shit. That kind of puts me down on this. Weird would be, well, it wasn't weird. It was a very interesting elevator ride. It was just unusual because I got it. It was after a show, and it was with a band I was working with 15 years ago, and it was their anniversary. And they had a party at the Foundation Room, and I got on an elevator after the show. It was at the MGM, and then went over to get up to go to the Foundation Room, and in stepped one of the Ramones, Tim Burton, his wife, and Nicolas Cage. And then me and one other person. We all were very cordial. We said hi. And they didn't even give a shit that I was there, and which was cool because I had credentials, so they knew I was somehow associated with this band.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to keep talking about Nicolas Cage's house that he bought, that he wanted to build a crypt in the basement of the house so he could keep himself or somebody else in there when they died. And the answers that Tim Burton kept saying, it sounded like he was actually giving him a whole Dexter moment, like it was a kill room, because there was a secret door to get in, no way to get out except a coded door.
Oh, wow.
And one of the Ramones, I don't remember which one. He just kept saying, "How cold is it? Can you have drinks in there? Do we need a fridge?" And it just came off as a Dexter episode. And if anyone had just mentioned, "Oh, do we have any really like 6mm plastic wrap?" I was sure that they were simply talking about where they're going to bring their girls and guys, and then it's a sex den that's turned into a fucking murder scene, and then there's a drain that just grinds them up and flushes them down the fucking toilet or something. So, and Tim Burton's wife, Helen Bonham Carter, just stood there, very, very nice, smiling and agreeing and nodding with the more insane things that kept coming out of her husband's mouth and Nicolas Cage's mouth about how things have just gone from what essentially seemed like a fucking perfect setup for a horror movie to this could be a place that I could keep dead bodies where no one would find them until they decompose, kind of Jeffrey Dahmer style.
Wow, yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. Dexter meets Dahmer.
I just nodded. It's like, sounds good. Yeah, get me out of this fucking elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, we're technically in that box right now, so
yeah. I'm like, I'm 6'8", and I know 5 of you can take me out, but I'll fuck one of you or 2 of you up really bad. And going to the foundation room, it's top floor of the fucking hotel, and you're just like, how long are these 25 fucking plus floors? Can this elevator go any quicker?
Oh man!
And it literally seemed like it was in slow motion. And it doesn't stop anywhere except, when you're at the House of Blues, you get escorted to the foundation room elevator. It takes you up, and that's it. There's no stopping. And this fucking elevator, they just must slowed it down because I swear, it was like a 10-minute conversation in the span of about 4 minutes, it seemed like.
Yeah. Oh, man. I like that one. I've never heard that story, so I appreciate that one.
Well, I see. Oh, I'll tell you when we're done who I was with, because even though I toured with the band and they're still around, they're good. I'm not a really big fan of the music. Sure. But they liked it and they were fans and all that good shit. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody who's a fan of a band that I don't like that they might. Yeah. So I don't wish to offend them.
Yeah, of course. Oh man. Oh dude. And I mean, as I was asking you the weirdest thing or encounter you've had, I mean, that's an amazing story, but then it just got me thinking of our crazy I mean, it takes a lot for you and I to be speechless, but there was a day in Salt Lake City that left us pretty speechless.
Oh, Jesus fucking H. Yeah. I know exactly that fucking moment.
I mean, you talked about sex cults. I mean, we hit that. Like, if you could have, when we woke up, we're like, oh, let's go hit some Atlas Obscura stuff, and then like we'll just see where the day takes us. And I mean, we found a grave that said the victim of the beast 666. Like the groundskeeper just being like, she's over there, just super annoyed because he knew where we were looking. And I mean, ending up in a sex cult that called Summum.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I told my parents
in a pyramid
if they died, I'm going to take them there and have them stuffed.
Yes.
And yeah. For those of you who don't understand what we've just gone off to on the deep end, anyone in Salt Lake City, you'll understand this. Go to the pyramid, and then go there on a Wednesday night. Yeah. You'll understand. Yeah. I don't need to say anything else, but they are one of the only legal places where they can do mummifications on humans. Yeah. And plenty of animals. So yeah.
If you want your cat mummified, I mean, they'll do it for you.
Yeah.
One of the only ones
one
left.
One of those wonderful times, everybody listening, that the whole day was completely insane. I'm going to give a big shout out to Salt Lake City, because as much as I've always enjoyed going there, and I do have family that are Mormons that are down in Orem, I've never seen a more darker side of a city that pretends to be so fucking glowing with God. From the grave, from the most amazing stained glass we've ever seen in my life in the world at the university. Yeah. To that lovely toxic mine in railroad tracks that we were at, to a certain gentleman who led us into his store. Oh man! Ladies and gentlemen, I can't even begin to tell you how Adam's family this whole thing was, and it was the most amazing, fucked up, surreal moment. This is a truly speechless moment for Nick and I when we were there, and then on top of that, the lovely pyramid of sex cult. But the whole night ended up us over close, not far from the airport, eating at a bar called Purgatory.
Right, of course. The only place that we could have ended up, because we started off with the stained glass wall of creation, and then we went and saw John Smith as like a a Sphinx pyramid or a Sphinx cat, like
Oh my
you remember
God.
that? I
Fuck.
don't know. It was so odd. And then we went to this guy. It's called Raphael's Christian Church. It's right off of downtown. And this man literally, he was a sculptor back in the day. And he had actually like carved sculptures for like the state house and stuff. So if you've seen the lions, he did those. But like then in his own house, he literally like carved create the story of creation into his basement, up the stairs and around the house. I mean, we got in there and we were in there for almost 2 hours, wasn't it?
Oh,
Something
at
like
least
that.
it was truly a moment in life that any of you out there, when you have that moment, like there's a special bar in Lisbon that is it's a moment of life where you, no matter where you go, you'll never forget it. That location that Nick and I went to, and the car that was in there from the 30s.
Oh yeah, that was so rad.
You truly know that most people would think, oh my God, I'm in the house of a man who is so fucking insane, I'm going to fucking end up in the murals in the walls.
Yeah.
And then you realize I'm actually in the presence of greatness.
Yeah.
And this guy, the world now would look down upon and just call him whatever sad, hateful words. And then you realize these people are narrow-minded because this guy is a fucking genius. He is his soul, the laugh he had, the stories he told. I was very humbling to be so out of your comfort zone that you felt like you were in your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. There was, man, yeah.
Fuck
yeah.
Me.
And then we left there and went straight to the pyramid. And I remember you and I sitting in the car and just being like, because, we had planned because we were like, oh, yeah, there's this pyramid. We can go talk to people. They have an open discussion on Wednesdays. And amazingly, just happened to be there on a Wednesday. And then we had just had this experience with Raphael, which was just, I'm still kind of speechless about it all. But like, then we're sitting in the car and going, dude, are we gonna go in? Like, we kind of have to do this, right? But we're both just like, just kind of, I think we're both pretty exhausted by just how crazy this was.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we're going to go do this. And talk to Summum, who was created by a man named Corky, who saw blue beings in the sky. And actually, you know what? I'll give them a quick plug. On Wednesdays, if you're not in Salt Lake City, and, we're in a pandemic, so if you don't want to see people, I completely understand. They actually live stream on their YouTube their Wednesday night meetings. So you can tune in on Wednesdays and see what Summum is all about.
And you can see Corky because he is embalmed. He is in that pyramid. He has been mummified. So he is actually just a few feet from you.
Yeah, and he's right there.
It's really surreal. It was actually, I would go back.
I would.
Just again, yeah.
I would too. Yeah, it was one of those, when we left, I was like, yeah, it was not what I expected, but like, it was pretty awesome. I actually enjoyed my time. And then, we looked at the book that they gave us, and
oh God,
boy, that was something. That's when we figured out that they were trying to get us into some sort of sex cult after this really nice conversation that we had.
Yeah, women, girls, ladies, and even gentlemen, please don't go there alone.
No, don't go there alone. Especially if you're just like one of those people that's like, yeah, let's give it a shot and see where the night goes. I don't think that's, if you're prone to doing those kind of decisions, then I'd shy away from some of them by yourself. Take a friend with you. I would suggest that.
Yep,
so you might get yourself a little farther down a road that you don't know where it's headed. That was definitely, that was definitely in my life one of the, I've had a lot of weird experiences, but that whole day was just, unbelievably strange and wonderful. And just, I couldn't believe that we were both so speechless.
Yeah. The thing about it is a minute ago you asked me to tell you a story, what was weird for me, and I've always said telling stories, it's great, but actually it's not what I really like to do. I prefer to share the story. So if we are together somewhere and somebody says, oh man, tell us a weird story or tell me a weird story, we're both going to pull Salt Lake City because
totally.
stories are great to share, but they're better to be shared when you're together making the stories and then you tell them, because not only do the people get your, like how you felt and things you saw, and then I say what I saw, what I felt, they're still the same, but they're so different because you actually get to see both sides of a coin through two sets of eyes. And that's what I love about having such great people, great friends. When you go out and you do something, you're making stories, you're making memories, but then something aligns where you get a day on that Wednesday in Salt Lake City where it just started, it's a stained glass and started in heaven and ended in purgatory. And that's what I find is imperative for all of us nowadays, because especially with this time, is if you can do something like that one day when things get better next year, pray for that.
Yeah.
That we go out and make a story for both of you, like two of you or three or four of you. Go out and live life. Go out and do something.
Yes.
And because just remember, like I said, telling a story is great, but sharing that story that you've both made or all of your friends have made, you can't fucking beat it, man.
No.
You just can't.
It's far better because now I'm just in a better mood thinking about that day that we shared.
Oh, fuck. All I can think about now. I've got all the pictures on my computer in front of me. When we're done, man, I got to look at fucking some photos.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just for anybody that's listening, I will post those up when I post the update for when this goes up. I'm gonna post some of the creepier ones, just so I mean, we haven't even gotten to the scale of creepiness.
Fuck.
You know, just seeing them, you have to see it. I would recommend going whenever you can. Actually, I don't even know if it would be still open now. I mean, I don't know how Raphael's doing, but man,
I hope. Yeah, he wasn't doing too good. I hope he's still around, and he's everything in that whole place was amazing.
Oh,
fucking
man. Yeah. All right, so I remember what you wrote for this question, and I'm gonna give you a hint if you don't remember it, but I just think it's such a cool story, and it actually ties into another part of a question that I asked, which I think is a funny way of you answering these two questions, which was the first one was tell me a story that shaped your life. Do you remember what you wrote for that one?
Oh yeah, I can't forget that. It's fucking Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
When I was 15 years old, I grew up in music. My dad used to, even though he was in the military and traveled everywhere, he used to sign groups to record labels, and he used to hang out with Conway Twitty and just be always getting in trouble back in the day. He and his brother, my uncle, spending enough time in jail and being expelled from schools across the Northeast and down in Florida. Went to an Alabama show because, laugh if you want, I love music. I was 15. It was at the Melbourne Highlight Center, actually. And after the show, as most country artists would, I think they still do that within reason nowadays, they're so down to earth that you can meet them. At that time, they did their show and they came out and they were just talking, and I saw Roy Orbison sitting there on a chair and no one was talking to him. And he's been an idol of mine my whole life to this very moment. And I went up and started talking to him. And it was the things he said. I remember telling in the other forum that, what he told me. And I remember the time I asked him for his autograph and he said he doesn't have a pen or paper. And I said, oh, I'll go get one. And I remember him saying, well, he had a show to do in Orlando and he'll wait as long as he can. But a minute to you is a lifetime to me. And I didn't understand it. I remember he looked at my dad, and my dad knew. And he said, I think your dad will tell you one day.
Yeah.
And because we were talking about music and a few other things before he said that. And he didn't seem bothered or inconvenienced by a 15-year-old kid and his dad coming up, how most fucking cuntbag fucking asshole rock and roll bands and other artists are about meeting the people. And forgive me for using the C word, I don't like it, but it needs to be made a point, is that these people they don't have the minute to give. And this legend sat down and talked to me. And he gave me a minute. He gave me some private conversations, and he gave me story, and talked about his son, and I connected to that. And for that minute, I've given him my lifetime, and which is a minute to you is a lifetime to me. So that was explained to me by my father a couple of years later. But I ran off to try to go get a piece of paper and a pen, and when I came back, he was gone. And somebody that was there waited for me to come back and said, hey, he's really sorry. He waited specifically. And it was maybe about 10 minutes. Maybe it seemed like an eternity. Maybe it was less.
Yeah.
But at that time, traffic back then going from Melbourne to Orlando was just over an hour, but depends on which routes he took to get there in time. And that's one of my biggest regrets, is I never got to get an autograph from him. But I got a phrase that has stuck with me my entire life, and it's how I look at people, and it's how I fucking treat people.
Yep.
And it's how I judge them. As if the people who put you where you are, that you don't have a time because you think you're special, I'm sorry, but you know what, they'll also put you right down the fucking ladder again.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just do it. So I thank him for that. And anyone who uses that term, I hope they utilize it in a way that makes them feel better about themselves. Totally. And just look at people. It's pretty much what I feel is important for every person who gives a shit about themselves to just a second. It doesn't take you a fucking minute to be nice. You should just be nice. Just give a smile. Fuck.
Yeah. Just give a shit for 10 seconds.
Especially nowadays.
Right.
Just hold a door for somebody, a man or a woman or a child or an elderly person.
Yeah.
You're in a hurry to get nowhere. That's just it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you swung it around to your biggest regret, because that's where I was going with that. I love that question. I mean, I don't love that question, because I don't like that people have regrets. But when I read your answer to that one, I was like, oh, swinging it back around, full swing, full circle.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is everybody's got regrets of some sort and some things like that. And my thing is I never wanted to grow up and regret not trying something. If I grow up and I try something and I fail, I'm perfectly okay with that, because I can say with pride, I failed at that.
Yeah.
And I did fail at a number of things. And somebody said, well, why do you say it was such fucking like positive energy? And I went, because I did it. At least I can say I did it. Totally. And it didn't work for me, but here's why I failed. So you go do it and you be successful at it. Yeah. And if you get there, just understand somebody failed so you could succeed.
Absolutely. Nothing that was started ever went perfectly from the first second it happened.
Yeah.
I
agree with that. I've been lucky, like you have, and anybody out there. We've all run across, I hate the word celebrities, but musicians that make the music that change our lives. And I've been lucky to meet some of my idols and some of the most amazing people. Some of them were nice. Some of them were just fucking horrible people. But the one thing and the one person that I really wish, I understood he couldn't wait. I would have loved to have gotten something from him. Yeah. And just signed, because it's just like, oh, now I don't sit around, 9,000 years later going, oh, what could have been? I just go, you know what? I'm really happy the universe even provided that moment with my life. And he graced me for that. And he gave me some words. Yeah. And to this day, it still rings true, Yeah. And that's it. I mean, I met Michael Jackson in June of '89 when I was in Los Angeles seeing a friend. And it was Tower Video at the time, across the street from Tower Records on Sunset. That guy was so nice and took the time to talk, signed a CD cover, the long box form of Thriller. Bad. And the guy didn't have to do any of that shit. You know, massive security and everything. He just took a moment, It's like, I like the music. I've always liked Michael Jackson. His personal life, that's a whole nother ballgame.
Sure.
I can't say. I don't know.
Right.
But I know that, somebody who is that stature of a musician and a person at that moment, before everything fell, he didn't have to do anything. I wasn't, like a young boy. I was 18 years old. And, it just proves that at the end of the day, we're all the same people.
Yeah. Totally.
And like, Nick, I mean, you've met so many people that are amazing. You look up to their music, and then you meet them, and then you just let down.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
He's like, fuck, I hate these people.
Yeah, it's the shittiest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer because, you and I, we totally get this because we're music nerds to the max. And it's like, I understand why people want to do the meet and greets and meet people. And I understand it. It's, it's what keeps me doing my job. And what why I love doing my job is being able to give people those experiences. Cause I understand that, music has gotten me through my toughest parts of life, and yeah, when you meet that person where you just go, dude, your words, your voice has gotten me through this tough point, and then they're a total asshole. It's I don't know, it's so deflating, It's like, damn, man, I looked up to you and you got me through some hard shit, and now the real memory that I have of you is terrible because you're just an asshole. You're a miserable person, and that sucks. I'd rather just keep it as, I love your music. You helped me through some hard times.
Absolutely. And, God, it sounds like what I'm going to say is like name dropping shit, but it really isn't, because these people, this person, it's just a human. It's just a human being. But I am a massive Doors fan. I have been, as you know, my entire life. I got the chance to do 13 shows when Ian Astbury was singing, and I got to at least see one show with Stuart Copeland on drums when he broke his hand, so they had to reschedule. They rescheduled, and it played. Actually, I just came back from Australia on a tour, and it was on my birthday here in a place called the Palms. So it was really cool. So a couple of years later, I got to be around 13 shows with the Doors, and the one thing, I was talking to Ray Manzarek, and he was chatting, and he said, "Why are you so quiet?" I said, "Honestly, I love the music." And he said, "Let me stop you. Have you ever met your idols and been disappointed?" And I said, "Not yet." And he goes, "I have. And it's the worst feeling, because you never like the music and you hate the person." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, Have I let you down? Have we let you down? I said, "No, actually, you probably just put it even higher up."
Yeah.
And he goes, "That's all we are." He goes, "That's all we want to be, is just, we're just normal people. We have a really good gig, but end of the day, I don't want to let people down, just as they don't want to let people down." And it was the most humbling thing to hear somebody who I've grown up and love the Doors and all of their records, and where I collect all this stuff, to now have a man go, "Yeah, well, I don't want to be letting you down because I've been let down." Yeah. And since he's told me that, and I know he's passed on, and I still love the Doors, but I've met other, musicians and just people, and not even just musicians, just people, and they've just let me down.
Totally.
Because they just think that their own fucking ego projects them to a level that is so much more important.
Right.
And the truth is in today's world, we're all slapped in the fucking face. We're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
And people just don't, some of them just don't care. They'll continue doing whatever they got to do for their own advancements.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, if you get some money, you got all that, that's wonderful. Now, what about the person looking back in the mirror? Is that person still a piece of shit? Because it sure looks like it to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean that's what I've been going for on this, this podcast and the project I've been working on just online, is I want people to see that. It's so disheartening to see people just being total assholes or thinking that they're better than somebody because of their race, or or where they're from. If someone's not from America, they think they're less of a person, and it's just like, no, man, every single one of us are are humans, you know, and yeah, so these people play music better than, not even better than, that's a wrong way to say it. Not even better than. They are just more well known and they wrote better songs or wrote songs that people liked better. And so they got popular. That doesn't make you better than anybody else. The fact that millions of people know who you are, that doesn't make you better than anybody. It's just, you're just another human that plays, you know, just you play music. Like,
You're
perfect
good at
example.
what you've done
Yeah.
and what you're doing, and
Yeah.
we appreciate it.
Good job.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean that that person is better than the person, the married couple in Germany that helped come up with the fucking vaccine for COVID. Those
Right.
people are the ones that should have a fucking ego.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, I said this on the first podcast, but it just puts me in mind of it again, where I was working with the band Bush, and you know that's a big band to a lot of people, and a lot of people would be stoked to meet them. And we went to NASA, and we in Houston, and I met an astronaut, and I don't have any photos with anyone from the band Bush, but I'm friends with them. But like, I saw this woman who'd been in space 2 weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, give me a picture with that person. I want a picture with that person. And she said, she was just blown away. She was like, yeah, but you're with these guys. And I was like, those guys play music. You know, like,
You've been to space.
You were in space 2 weeks ago. Like, that is far
It's like-
cooler than
That's when-
any musician.
That's when you go, you were in space 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, I was in Jersey.
Yeah.
Having some good food at having a fucking show.
Right.
But you were in space.
You weren't
Fuck
even.
me.
Yeah, you were up there looking down at us. And yeah, I was in random, like, Wyoming or something, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
And these guys played another show to another 10,000 people, but you were looking down at this, at Earth. That's cool. I'll take a photo with you. Those guys, whatever. They're cool, but.
Oh, you know what? I got to tell you, from that show I did with them in February, when you know, for work, and they had nothing but so much love and respect when they talked about you. When they found out how close, when you let the team know how close we were and how friends we are, man, the minute I walked in there, everyone, it's like I'd known that entire group of people just because they all loved you so much. And they were just, I couldn't believe it. And then even like Gavin came up and talked to me. He didn't have to fucking talk to me. He didn't know who the fuck I was. He knew what I was doing.
Right.
But they all knew you, and it was just like the minute you mentioned, or when like your name was mentioned, they all just started smiling, and they all started telling crazy fucking drunk stories.
Oh yeah.
And then good positive stories. And that's love. That was unconditional love for you.
Those are great friends of mine.
Yeah.
They're
they showed
all
it to
beautiful
me,
people.
And I tell you what, man, I'm humbled by how fucking great those people are. They're so amazing. I know they just did a show just a couple days ago at some drive-in, and I think it was great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know, it again just proves that point of like, just be a good person, man. Be a beautiful human. You know, it's real simple. You know, the hatred that people work up and figure out what, like, some reason to hate someone, that takes effort. You know, what doesn't take effort is being a nice person.
Yeah. It's very easy to choose a side, especially now with the politics in American politics. It's Trump or Biden or, you know, whoever. Yeah. You know, okay. That's one thing, but it doesn't mean you have to reflect that back in a negative reinforced way to prove that you're better. You're not better. You know, we all eat, sleep, and shit the same. You know, we're all we live, we're gonna die.
Yep.
Why not? I'm not saying that, you know, you don't have your moments where you're going to be a fucking asshole, because you need to be. But, you know, if I'm coming up and I'm talking to you, I'm going to treat you like you're my friend. If you don't want to treat me back, well, then go fuck yourself. I don't have time for it. So, you know, just, you can't really extend a hand of friendship right now, but you can do a fist pump.
Right.
But, you know, it is important, at least for the people that want to be in that same mindset as other like-minded people, because when you're around positive people, that will attract positiveness. If you're around negative people, it's only going to bring that. It's only going to, no matter what, whether it's the race card or the politics card or financial or whatever, if you want to be successful, and success, it doesn't mean money. It's just whatever it means in your heart and your mind. Just turn that frown upside down. just try and to look at yourself and go, if I'm around some positive people, maybe that will reflect, if you provide, it will be provided back.
Totally agree with that. And yeah, it is unbelievable how polarized and how much hatred is flowing around in this country right now. And it scares me with people being politicized. It was like, oh, okay, you're this political or this side of political, whatever you believe, or whatever side you take in politics. But now it's like, oh well, I recycle, or you recycle, so you're a liberal. And it's like, no, man, take care of the earth, because if it goes away, then none of us are here. It's like, how are these all these issues becoming political? And it just boils down to like putting all this negative shit on each other. It's like, oh, you're a fucking hippie tree hugger. It's like, yeah, well, I am, for sure, because I want the world to go on. And if we don't take care of the planet,
exactly.
I mean, we don't. None of us exists. The right, left, the up, the down, anyone. None of us are going to be around.
Did you just say the upside down, like
Yeah.
Stranger Things?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to look at it like this a small bit. If the day comes where people want to have children, like if I want to have a family, I would like to make sure that it's on this planet, that we and our generation, our parents before us, haven't fucking destroyed.
Right.
Because it would be nice to say, listen, I'm a tree hugger. I'm a tree hugger, hippie loving motherfucker, because I really just enjoy being able to walk into the woods and enjoy nature and not see trash and all this shit.
Yeah.
Well, then you're a fucking piece of shit who doesn't know how to use a garbage can, because you're just an inbred fucking idiot that doesn't understand that putting trash in a trash can isn't making you a tree hugger. It makes you responsible.
Right.
If you have a kid, they pretty much, they're going to follow you by what you lead them. And if you lead them by throwing trash on the ground, that's all they're going to do. If you tell them to put it in garbage, then they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's small little gestures, especially with children and young kids, that it isn't about the ego trying to be, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. For fuck's sake, just don't put yourself in the equation. Look to the future. Put them in the equation, because by that time comes, we're going to be dead. And maybe somebody out there, whatever happens, that is good in their childhood, they'll want to reciprocate it back to the next generation.
Right. And that the next generation has a planet to live on.
Yeah.
I mean, above all that, it's just that simple. Just
follow by example, man. Shit.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree, man. All right, so I'll do three little questions, and then we'll get to the end of this thing.
Blue Peeps and coffee liqueur. I don't even know what coffee liqueur is, actually, but sure. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. I like that. I like that. I don't like the coffee liqueur, even when I was drinking.
I don't like coffee anyways. Fuck it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So after all that, what would you want the world to know about you?
Well, that I'm weak, like everyone else in today's world. But no matter what, the people that make you smile the most are the saddest inside, and people don't want to think about it because they're too self-absorbed. Yeah. I'm at a state where I would just like my friends to always be who they are right now and don't change. I hope that the people that know me don't take my kindness for weakness, because I'm kind to everybody. But if one is crossed, then it becomes a different ballgame. And I want to make you laugh. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
I want everyone in our industry. I want this vaccine to kick in. And so, not selfishly going, I want to go back out on tour like tomorrow. I just think that the world deserves to have live entertainment.
Absolutely.
Whether you're on stage in the theater, playing a gig, all the people who work for the bands and productions, that as much as those people don't think much of me, I care about them.
Yeah.
And they don't have to reach out to me, and they don't ever have to talk to me ever again, because I'll know that I'll still treat them with the respect, even when they're slagging me off. I'm not going to disrespect them. It's just, I don't want to waste my time. It's petty.
Yep.
And, so I don't know if they want the world to know about me. I don't know. Just say hi, be my friend, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Take a chance, man. Fuck.
I'll second that. Be Jason's friend. He's a really amazing friend to have in your life. So if you meet Jason, definitely say hi, and then take a nice running start and jump as high as you possibly can to give him a high five, because he's very tall. I know you didn't know where that was going, but
twat, so yeah.
Oh, right. So if I were to give you a plane ticket anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Right back to Maldives. Not that I've ever been there before, but I know it's what I mentioned last time. It's been a dream of mine to go there, like a bucket list. And a friend of mine, Jenny, who lives in Berlin with her partner, he's an American who lives there as a teacher, and he also tours. He actually did a lot of stuff out there with one of the bands you were out there with, GNR. He worked with Duff on Walking Papers and his side project. But
super cool.
My friend Jenny, she's from there, and when I found out she was from there, and they invited me to go stay at their place, they have a place down there, a house, with their family. Since I was maybe 9, I've always wanted to go, just because of the ecological diversity and what I love about nature, and everything I've always read and seen, she confirmed. So when I was out to dinner with them in Berlin, from by their house, I talked about it, and she said, well, let me tell you what it's like. And it was even better, and everything I've read and seen. And it's one place I really just want to go and just disconnect and just enjoy it.
I say let's go there whenever the borders open up for travelers from the States.
Yeah.
Well, you have another passport that you can travel on. I don't have that. So whenever you go there, and I'll come find you.
Yeah. I can get a couple other places you can't.
Yeah. One day we'll be able to travel again.
Yep.
All right, and I'll end with this one because I like hearing this from everybody that I talk to. If you had the ear of everybody in the world, what would you say to them?
Today or yesterday?
Both.
Yesterday, I wouldn't have given a shit to lend my voice to anybody's ear because they wouldn't fucking care, and I was too selfish. Today, I won't even say anything other than the fact of what we're going through, which is a once in a lifetime thing, is we really should embrace the limited time we have to wear these masks, just so we can get better and hope that these vaccines do exactly what they need to do. And it's not about shows. It's about saving innocent lives. I've lost 2 family members this year. The first was not by by Corona in January, and my aunt, who passed away just recently. Luckily, as sick as she was, she didn't pass away of it because she was homebound. But because of the virus, I had to watch her funeral on a fucking video from England. I could not even attend it. So it robbed me of a chance to say goodbye to my aunt, who I'm very, very close with, some of my family. And my voice to your ear would just be that these people that are dying every minute of the day, it's needless. And I just am very hopeful, like everyone else, that this vaccine can begin to save lives. That's it. And not to go back out on the road just because innocent people are dying, and for no reason. And it's heartbreaking to see how many people, because of a president who is selfish, or a prime minister who's an idiot, or presidents of other countries, it's all political and it's about money. I didn't realize life was about money, except that they have the money to get whatever experimental treatment and get over it.
Right.
And the rest of us, are not elitists and
Right.
just want people to be able to not wear a mask and go see your family, go see your friends, and fucking hug them.
Yeah.
That's all. That's
Absolutely.
all I long to do.
Yeah.
I've seen so few people in 9 months that it's almost becoming the norm to be a fucking isolated piece of shit in a cave.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's weird seeing your friends not hugging them. But,
Yeah.
you know,
I
there's,
couldn't hug you two when I saw you in Utah a couple weeks ago.
I know. And, you know, there's people being selfish that are keeping that happening.
Yeah.
And they need to stop.
I just want people around the world just to know that, you know, there's fucking light at the end of the tunnel, and just suck it up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not that hard.
No. Yeah.
It's
I would
really
love to say
not
it's
that
hard.
Yeah. It's not
But
that
it
hard.
is.
It is, but it's not, you know.
It's not. You
It's
know, every
not
time
at
you go
all.
into a hospital, even before this, people wear a mask.
Yeah.
They are there to help you. And you only have to wear it when you go into a store for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess once, you know, it's hard to stop somebody from being selfish. What can I say?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, yeah, the mindset of it's all about me and who cares if it helps everybody else. You know, we need that mindset of if it's good for everybody, it's good for me. You know?
I just want it to be good for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too, brother. Well, Jason, man, this has been so much fun. We could talk for days. I know you texted me last night and you're like, how long does this take? And I was like, we might be talking till Sunday. It's currently Saturday.
Let me get my sleep first.
Yeah. Yeah. Rest up for this one, brother.
Nick, you know, we've been friends so long, and anyways, listening, I've known Nick since he was a teenager. How's that? There you go.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we could literally just sit around and talk. You know why? Because that's what I think everybody needs to do. Just when you can, and somebody you care about, you miss. And I know talking, texting sucks ass. Fucking video chat them, do whatever. Just make the time, because for those who like us, where our industry is fucking decimated, make the time. Take an hour out of your day to talk to somebody you fucking care about or you miss. You know why? Because, and as cliche as this sounds, you don't know what the hell's going on with them. And
Absolutely.
right now, the suicide rate is so dangerously high that the strongest people can be really strong, but sometimes hearing a voice is better than reading a word. And you're there for him, man. Like with our friend Giddy, who was not in a good place recently, and he's come back from it.
Yeah.
You know, just to hear his laughter.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
Everyone out there's got a good friend. Just think about the good times you had and just want those and go for it.
Yeah. 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 Be there for your people as much as you can right now. Because, I mean, believe me, when I was told I didn't have another day, I wished that I could say goodbye to everybody, but I never would have been able to. So, yeah, enjoy this time, man. Enjoy your life. Live your life, you know. Take care of others so we can live life again. Don't be selfish. Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you so much, man. And, of course, we'll talk all day, every day, like we usually do. But this is really awesome.
Anytime, Nick. You're a brother, and I love you. And I couldn't imagine my life without you in it, man.
Same, man. 100%.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
Anytime, man.
Thank you for listening to the Beautifully Human podcast. To hear more beautiful stories from beautiful humans, follow us on Spotify and rate and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Wanderlust Moon Duo. Peace signs up.